So you know how last week after the Nashville game, I made a video talking about how the Vancouver Canucks, in my opinion, were kinda done. Like, this was Benning's all-in roster that he wanted to go out there and send into the playoffs and actually try to make a run and do all that stuff. And I said the roster just wasn't good enough, and that should the Vancouver Canucks go out there and start to lose more games and not really contend anymore because they're one of the last teams in the Pacific and all that, I said that would have been okay. Bruce, there it is, don't worry, bud, it's not your fault. It's the roster in front of you. They're just not good enough. Sure, they can play well sometimes, but this roster is not going to go out there and they're not going to make the playoffs and they're not going to do what it is that Benning wanted them to do when he assembled this team. And I was okay with that. And heading into the All-Star weekend, I was like, okay, we're going to have ourselves some time to talk about trade rumors and talk about the hypotheticals and talk about all the stuff that is going to go down with this team. But today, Monday, February 7th, we had ourselves some news from the Canucks official Twitter account that kind of shakes up the entire team in the worst way possible. I was already okay with the idea of the team losing games, but with this piece of news, that kind of result seems inevitable at this point. The Vancouver Canucks have announced that Quinn Hughes has been placed in protocol. And oh boy, Quinn Hughes is the most important player on the team? Is he? I think you could say that. It's either him or Demko, right? Him or Demko or Miller. And Hughes is officially out. Now, it's a little bit different when you're losing out on a Miller or you're losing out on a Demko. Demko can be replaced by a Martin, who is very good. He can be replaced by Halak, who could be very good as well. Miller is a forward, and there are a lot more forwards on a hockey team than there are defensemen or goaltenders. And we saw when Miller was out, the team was able to go out there and do okay, not terribly bad, but Quinn Hughes being out, oh boy, this is tough, and I don't know if the Vancouver Canucks have what it takes to completely find a replacement for this guy. You could try to give the assignment of a Quinn Hughes type player to an Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but is he skilled enough to be able to do what Quinn Hughes does? I'm not very sure anymore. And so, when it comes to this team, they're screwed. And if you go over some of the comments that Jim Rutherford made from Rick Dhaliwal in the interview, this is a series of tweets that he posted earlier in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and read these because they kind of give us a few updates as to what the Canucks are thinking about and what Rutherford is thinking about. See, it's not just my personal bias going out there and confirming this. Dhaliwal could have talked to Alvin, but he doesn't. Instead, he talks to Rutherford. I just talked with Rutherford on Quinn Hughes being in protocol. He was at the All-Star game in Vegas. Tough break for us. We're scratching and clawing to stay in this race. He will not be available for us the next 3 games. We're hoping he returns February 17th in San Jose. Now, the next games the Canucks have, they have the Coyotes tomorrow, the Islanders on Wednesday, and the Leafs on Saturday. These are non-divisional teams, so there is a little bit of a safety blanket in that respect, but they are playing the Coyotes and they are playing the Islanders. These are 2 of the worst teams in the league. And the Vancouver Canucks going out there, as we said against Chicago, they can play bad teams and they can do well against bad teams. But can they do well against bad teams without Quinn Hughes in the lineup? That is the question that remains to be seen, and I hope we will get our answers to that soon. San Jose is Thursday next week, and that is when Rutherford is asking, okay, hopefully we'll be able to go out there and say, is he ready yet? Is he ready yet? And he'll be ready. But that is kind of the start of the crunch time, because take a look at the games the Canucks have then. San Jose, February 17th. Anaheim, February 19th. Seattle, February 21st. These are divisional games, and should Quinn Hughes miss out on any of these games, things would be very difficult if you're trying to bet on the Canucks making the dance and finding themselves in the postseason. But going back over onto Rick Dhaliwal's Twitter account, let's highlight a few other things that Rutherford says about the trade rumors. They're not coming from us. I feel for the players because it disrupts their lives. I know this is a passionate hockey market, and it's great for the sport, but not so great for the player involved. Now, yeah, he's not wrong. It's probably difficult to go onto Twitter or go onto YouTube because, let's face it, I'm not the only one making videos about Vancouver Canucks trade rumors and news, and seeing people talking about you and saying, okay, he's gonna get traded to Boston, he's gonna get traded to New York, he's worth this prospect. No, he's not. He's worth a pick. Oh no, he's worth this other thing. It's kind of difficult going out there onto social media and seeing everybody put a price tag on your value as a human being. Okay, no, not as a human being, but as a hockey player. You get what I mean, right? And Rutherford definitely does have a point. I don't want to make it seem like he's wrong in this respect, but I will say this. It does kind of come with the territory of being one of the best athletes in the world at the sport that you play, wherein you coagulate this idea with what the team status is and what the fan base wants from the team. Fans want this team to tank, fans want this team to go in the playoffs, yada yada yada. There are some 4D chess, big brain discussions that people have all the time, and fans are definitely part of those conversations, which is why trade rumors like these start up. Rutherford says, though, when it comes to the trade deadline, we have a full hockey staff meeting this week, or we have several of them. We have more people in place, more voices. It's time to get everyone's thoughts and Patrick Allvin to make decisions. Okay, I like the sound of that. When it comes to cap flexibility, he says this: you do not want to be a cap team. Everyone jumps to the conclusion that we have to trade a Miller or a Besser. It does not have to be a top player. I like the sound of that too, because when it comes to expensive players on the Vancouver Canucks that are not top players, you talk about Tyler Myers, you talk about OEL, you talk about Tucker Poolman, you talk about the defensemen. It's just the defensemen that are kind of in that territory. You're not going to see Jim Rutherford go out there and talk about trading away a Tyler Mott or a Highmore. Who knows if that happens, but yeah, that's kind of the idea that I think about when I see this tweet. He also talked about Travis Hamonic, speaking about defense. We are hoping that he is back this week, hoping he starts to practice this week. Travis Hamonic, man, has been the most, strange player the Canucks have had in years. Just his absence on the team, being in and out of the lineup, we don't even know what he's up to. Where is this guy? What is he doing? Why is he not playing? It's not like he's injured, right? We didn't get an injury report for Travis Hamonic, did we? And if we did, I definitely didn't see it. But either way, Travis Hamonic apparently might be coming back. If that means we could open the door to trading away a Tucker Poolman or something, then hey, be my guest. Rutherford does want to get some more cap flexibility because Benning went out there and did what he did. So when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks, this team, some trade updates, good stuff going on with the team and how exactly the executives are doing their jobs. I love that they're getting discussions done, and I love that Rutherford is implying that trades are going to be made and that they're going to start talking about who is going to get traded within the week. No more, oh, we ran out of time things coming here and there. So, yeah, lots of good changes of pace here from the Vancouver Canucks. It's just for Quinn Hughes. Dude, everybody was talking about Jack Hughes and him testing positive, being put in the protocol. Now, I didn't really see this, but I saw a lot of people actually talking about Jack Hughes and the interviews that he was doing at the All-Star game and stuff, saying that he sort of sounded sick already. And with the new ruling in place with the All-Star game concluding that only symptomatic players are going to get tested and asymptomatic testing is not going to be here anymore, if you get positive from here on out, it means that there's probably something going on. And, obviously, I don't want to see anybody get sick, right? But we had so many Vancouver Canucks that tested positive over the past few weeks, and Boudreau came out there saying, yeah, they were not sick. They were all asymptomatic, and they were able to play. They just weren't allowed to because of the status. And so now with the NHL relaxing a little bit on the testing protocols, this is a big deal if you test positive. It's like the bubble again. If you go out there and you're sick, you're out. Okay, no, the bubble's a bad example because they didn't have any positive cases. I guess I'm talking about the beginning of the season last year, I guess. So either way, Quinn Hughes, he's out for 3 games. Hopefully he comes back soon. But the Vancouver Canucks playing off against some bad teams. Let's see what they can do without Hughes. Let's see what they can do against Toronto without Hughes. I don't expect the Canucks to win against the Toronto Maple Leafs, but we'll see. So, talk to me in the comments, what do you think about the Vancouver Canucks, the updates on Quinn Hughes, him being out, Rutherford giving a trade update as to what the team is thinking about and where this team is going to go. It's not going to be Miller or Besser necessarily, but Rutherford really does want to go out there and free up some money and undo a lot of the Benning mistakes that he made in his last few months here. So, talk to me in the comments on your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.